a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Henry. You met my friends. You met my friends.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
Well, I was curious. You live in New Jersey. How come you have teacher here?
Because I found you guys. That's why. And Emmeline found me, sort of, at least to go to Pete.
Then I refer him to Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're taking Pete's class online?
Yes, I am. Everything is online for me, obviously. I can't, as a matter of fact, I can't even go. I live in New Jersey, but we have an office in New York, and I can't even go to my get a haircut in New York because they just told me I can't come because they have a COVID case. So I have to do everything online. I do dance lessons and paint lessons online and all my board obligations. So.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. We just mentioned my my landscape painting, Western style landscape painting teacher, Rob.
Right,
Rob,
I came from Rob too. Exactly. You're
yeah.
Rob, so that's how I met.
You know, Pete teaches through the same institution called the Creative Art Group in is it Moravia or?
It's Sierra Madre.
Sierra Madre, yeah.
Pete, can I make a suggestion, Pete? Why don't you invite Henry to join one of your class free? Just let him know how you did yours.
I have time to join.
That would be entirely
just
possible.
join one of his class. It's so much fun.
I would definitely sitting maybe.
Or you could at least drop in one time and see.
Just see.
Yeah.
How wonderful. I just mentioned I browsed your Facebook and I was impressed by your Chinese sketches, maybe. So you also do some Oriental painting, right?
Well, the thing is, I'm eclectic, so I tend to borrow from all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And Emmeline got my chop made for me in Hong Kong, but I haven't had any formal Chinese painting experience. I just there's a couple of Chinese painters that I follow that have influenced me, and I have a hard time remembering their names because they're Chinese. Chinese names are hard for me to remember.
Yeah, I understand. Even for me, they have so many names, like style names too.
But I have an inspiration file, and it has many different Chinese that I tend to. And I've been painting with Sumi ink for 30 years.
Wow, interesting.
During the 90s, I only painted in Sumi ink.
Oh.
For 10 years, I painted nothing but Sumi ink.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't do it in the Chinese style. I did it in the Pete Morris style.
Yeah, but that experience helped you to develop your Western style. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very. I think that's what we're trying to do. For me, to learn Western painting for the same reason, to incorporate into the Chinese painting. So I hope in the future, maybe there will be no distinction between East and West in the higher.
I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Hiroshi Yoshida, a Japanese painter.
Oh.
Well, he's a woodblock guy. He's a woodblock. But I like him specifically because he's a blend of East and West.
I see. Yeah, there are a lot. That's why we have more students join this section because the time of East and West met in the 17th century when the missionaries came to China, and then eventually the trade, the Opium War opened to China, and so we have a surge of Western culture into the native Chinese. Okay, let me start. the lesson. Let's see how many people we have got. 18. Okay. Yeah, we're recording this. Or I think just double check.
Hello, Henry.
Hello.
Look what I'm wearing. Can you see it?
Let me see.
Oh, how pretty.
I can't see who's the
It's a horse.
Marie. Son Marie.
Mary. Oh, Mary Kabush. Let me see.
Oh, yeah.
Mary. I can't find
You
you.
can't-
Let me
The horse.
see if I can find. Oh, I see. You're wearing a horse shirt. I did. I forgot. Yeah, thank you showing that. Yeah, good. I have to turn on the gallery view. Where's that view?
The what?
Oh, the gallery view. Okay, here. Now I can see everybody. I was focusing on my tables, but you can turn to gallery view, still see everybody, right? But when I do demo, I keep spotlight. So if you go to the speaker view, it will be my screen. Even though others speak, the video will not jump back and forth. That's why. Okay, so we're going to explore the Chinese painting theory today. That's why I have this much books on my table. In preparing this class, I've been reading extensively on the concept of the Dragon Man. There are many translations I found in Western language. We have some people from France, from UK, and other foreign countries here. Also, some speak Spanish, maybe. You'll find this word is very different in the text, in the translation. Sometimes like the one I sent you, it was translated as the effect of life, Dragon Man. And some translators just Dragon Man, some there's another but closely related term called the shi. Shi is another word very difficult to translate. And some translated as structural integration or structural tendency. Some translated as life or chi force or something. Anyway, so let me show you what book I have in this class. If you have taken the first two series, I used extensively this book called The Images of the Mind by Wen Fang, and a Chinese translation of this. So, but he covers only up to Shi Tao. So the last artist we talked about was Shi Tao in section 2, right? Lesson 20, and then we're going forward to the 18th century. But before that, we need to review a little bit. So today we're still in the 10th of the century, I think. And another book is the Mustard Seed Garden Manual Painting. This book was first published in the turn of the century, the 1790s to 18, early 1690s to 17 something, right? Is that? So if you read the preface, yeah, it's 1679 to 1701, the first edition. And this, by the way, do you know the meaning of the mustard seed in Chinese culture or in Buddhism? Anybody? No? Okay. I did some research on that, and I found the idea is from the Buddhism, Zen Buddhism. There's a saying in the sutra, maybe, or the mountain of Xu. I don't know how to translate that. It's a sacred mountain with immortals or Buddhist sages, whatever. It represents the large, the very large. So mustard represents the minimum, the smallest, and the mountain Xumi is the largest. And they said the whole mountain Xumi is in a seed of mustard. And on the other hand, you can also say the mountain of Xumi contains only one mustard, right? Because this means as there's an album called from small to see large. That's the same idea. This 4-1, the first one is Wang Shiming. He did a album called Wang Shiming's album, like a copy of you may recognize this painting as a huge, like a 2 meters tall painting, but it's done on a small book size, maybe it's just like this page size, and with 24 of them. He gave this to his grandson Wang Yuanqi, and Wang Yuanqi studied all throughout his life. This is called Wang Shiming's Within Small See Large album. That's a famous album. He copied the grand masters throughout the history of Chinese landscape painting. So from that album, it has all the masters to learn from. And so his grandson, Wang Yuanqi, was born in the 2 years before the Qing dynasty established or Ming ended. So he became a very high official. Just his patron is the emperor. He became the curator of the imperial collection. Okay, where I am. So basically, let's back to the topic of the mustard seed. There's a story I want to share with you. A koan maybe. A Chinese scholar who's a Confucian scholar who have supposedly read 10,000 volumes and became a Jing Shi. I think his name is Li. Last name is Li. Li Bo, Li something. Anyway, he's a Jing Shi, and he has a conversation with a Buddhist master monk, Zen monk. He asked, your Buddhism says the Xumi mountain could be contained in a mustard. How that could be? It's impossible. That's just nonsense. And the monk laughed and said, "Do you said you have read 10,000 volumes?" Yes, I got Jing Shi. I had to do that. Where the books stored? And the scholar pointing his head says, "Here, his brain," right? Okay, the monk said. So why you have that question? The Xumi mountain is in the seed of mustard. So the Buddhism talks about the material world and the spiritual knowledge, the shi, the knowledge. The knowledge has no limit, right? But it contains it could be, just like today we can have a little flash drive has everything in your mind downloaded, right? Okay. So that's the title of that book. Do you understand it now? Okay, great. Another book I used for this class, I recommended this, is the Chinese on the Art of Painting by a translation, a collection of essays and the literature by this scholar Oswald Siren. I don't know how to pronounce this. So I have sent you the handout with an essay translated by this author. It's very important. It's a very important. I think it's not a book. It's an essay, just a few pages. That's all. That's the entire content of this article called Scattered Notes on Painting at the Raining Window. Just the title of that essay, in which Wang Yuanqi developed this idea for the first time on the concept of the 龙脉, 龙墨, or because the translation even got different ways. I think maybe some dialect or Japanese maybe is called 龙墨, right? This book, by the way, is my first book I bought in University of Washington when I audit a class by Jerome Silbergeld. And I read this book every other year somehow. It's very, very good book compared Western and Eastern art history. And the author is George Rowley, and he is the professor, the advisor of Wen Feng in his doctoral program, I think. The book Image of Mind, that's his teacher in Princeton University, I believe, if my memory serves me. I think that's the relationship with that. But he doesn't read Chinese, so maybe. But he has very good approach to the Eastern art, comparison of Eastern art and West. And here, I just found this before the class. He mentioned something about Cezanne and Chinese landscape painting. So the style of Wang Yuanqi is known as he used the concept of 龙脉. It's a structural approach to his painting, and as a result, it is similar to the Western painter Cezanne, a French post-impressionism artist. Do we have a French student here? I think Marie is here, right?
Yes, Genevieve. My name is Genevieve.
Genevieve, oh, there's another French student.
Okay.
Okay. Mary Jane and Jeremy. Oh, great. So we're talking about Wang Yuanqi and Cezanne today. I just bought a new book. I haven't read through it, but it's a very good picture book. So this book it's so good compared to the early publications. They got very high technical. Printing technique. So the color and I can even feel the texture of it somehow. It's not giclée, but it's very good. You see, this color is beautiful compared to early Chinese, maybe a parrot version of some a translation of a UK book, I think. So this color is not really helpful, but it's already better than when I was studying, the art history. But black and white photo actually makes good sense, by the way. Even so, the concept is very similar in Cezanne's rock and landscape paintings. So I mentioned last time, I think maybe the week before, how ambiguous he kept in his painting, without really distinguish trees from rocks. And so I'm not going to show you how to paint Cezanne, of course, but Wang Yuanqi, right? I got 2 big books. Before I take this away, I want to mention a series of mountains Cezanne did a study, just looking out his window probably. He did dozens of these kind of studies called Mount Saint Victoire, right? It's not S, Victoire. Am I right?
Oui, Montagne Sainte-Victoire.
It's in Provence, a native mountain. He did a series of study. It's called Saint Victoire.
He lived beside it, and he painted it for more than 20 years.
Oh yes, that's because I can see through my window a mountain called Mountain Body here. So that's why I painted probably already a dozen. So I feel very the same thing. Every morning I can see a different inspiration on mountain, with the clouds, with the sun shining, with the snow. It's very, very interesting. I was lucky, like I can see this kind of mountain just outside my window, like Cezanne, and this is the snowy top of that same mountain.
But there are books on the inspiration of this painter with Eastern painting, Chinese and Japanese painting, and he was inspired by it.
Oh, it's good to know. I know.
Yeah,
there is. Did it? So Cezanne had access to Japanese woodblock.
Mostly Japanese from Claude Monet, but also Chinese. Some Chinese, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can see his line, his contour is very Eastern, and yeah.
I don't. He was quite poor, though, so I don't think he had genuine Asian paintings, but he had copies and he was interested by it.
Yeah, that's interesting. The mustard seed garden manual did the same thing in China, because not everybody is lucky like Wang Yuanqi. He had a grandfather being his tutor and had a big collection of his family. He lived in the imperial palace and had access to all the treasuries throughout the nation. And he is the curator of several volumes of category, including his own 60 pieces in the Imperial Palace Museum collection. You can still see Taiwan and scattered nowadays throughout the museums in the world. But he had the hold on all those paintings, can you believe? But we only have this painting for common people. So this book made it available to common people like you and me, who has not, the ability to see an original painting. So this kind of a book really contributed to the spread of this literati style. Okay, the Chinese or Japanese brush painting, not only in Europe but also in China itself. The publication of this or woodblock printing, I think. But woodblock painting has greatly influenced some styles of painters like Jianjiang or the monk Hongren. We have a student, I think Suzanne did a study of Hongren. He had only access to the woodblock printing teaching books like Cezanne or others. So his style is very like a woodblock, the lines. Yeah. So that's interesting to know. that Cezanne really had this kind of influence. So, yeah, before I continue, I can start some painting, so we can warm up a little bit. The paper I'm going to use are sized or unsized, but I can also show you semi-sized, so 3 of them. So let's see. Sometimes I cannot even tell, so I can just leave it to see if it absorbs. I can use a drop of water, something like that. Get it. Right. Okay, so the best way to tell is to use a clean water and see if it spreads on the or stay as a bead on the surface. And you'll see if it's. So let's just say if I don't know this paper, I just put a drop of water on the corner here, and it stays like a bead. Can you see it? Can you see? You see the bead? Can you see it? Yeah, yeah. So that's the that's a sized paper, and the unsized paper. This is not unsized. This is semi-sized thick. It's pretty absorbent. I call it. But yeah, this is spread. See that the corner spread. Okay, so this is pretty absorbent. And this one is also size. Okay, let me see. It's also size. I already made a mark there. So this one must be semi-size. If you have a preference, you can stick with that. You can explore different paper until you find that preference. That's by using it. You cannot really say that certain papers has to be used. You should be able to eventually master all the different papers. So you can take advantage of the paper. So this answers. This should be semi-size. Anyway, so I'm going to use semi-size. Let's just do a mountain, okay? So how we start a mountain? The Chinese mountain. Let's forget about the ink, because at this point we just practice the stroke. So I'll start the mountain from the peak, and then you can develop a kind of slope. Let's say this is a stony, like a rocky mountain, not so like a Huangshan or the Yellow Mountain, right? With this kind of needle peak. You can paint the left half and then the right half. If you want to follow me, just do this, and you can make this slope even more steep. But notice that I had some bounty stars. That's good. So you don't have to paint a solid line. Some lost and found lines is fine, as long as you concentrate on the shape of the middle. We call this start a stone nose. It's usually facing you. If it's the front view, you see the nose of a Okay, and then from here we can develop another layer behind, like that. This time I start from right and then left. You can do a smaller one, just like that. And notice this part is a Y, and you could have a Y here, but it depends. If you have one, it's some everything will be kind of too defined. So sometimes I suggest that I don't have to complete that. So incomplete, or idea complete with the absence of stroke is the idea. Okay. The next one I will do yet another slope like that. You can extend that outside the frame. And the beginning could be soft, and then you make, when you make turns, you stop. And you can make another Y here, the division line, okay? And then just go up and down. And so now I'm worried about the interval, spacing intervals, the Kaihu. If it's too close or too far, that's my concern. So I need to worry, but not too parallel to each other, but not too close or not too far. So I'm looking at the drag. I'm thinking about the dragging man. The dragging man is an abstract idea rather than a concrete dragon. The book translated dragging man as a magnetic current, to borrow a maybe from geomancy, the feng shui. Have you heard the feng shui? The Chinese geomancy is read of like Earth's qi or energy, right? They use dragon man to describe this kind of abstract under structure of the landscape. Maybe it's called Longmai. And you can leave some space between two peaks, like here you can have this layer overlap with this one goes behind, and you see my brush getting lighter. It's just happened naturally because I didn't load the brush fully with one tone of ink, so that become a natural gradation, kind of variation, from dark to light. So if you keep doing this, you'll get all the variations without any specific, so the ink really follows your sequence. So Chinese painting is a time art. Dragging man is a sequence of strokes. It's not a two-dimensional design drawing, something. It's writing like calligraphy. If you write this just like you're writing the character, I mentioned mountain in my video, and you can also add inner wrinkles like that. You can divide or build up like that. So let's do another hill to complete this. And you see the mountain becomes rounder and more earthen, right? Covered by soil instead of exposed. We just had a chat with a new student in our class, Peter Morris, about another instructor in creative arts artist group, online and a physical school. I learned yesterday from Rob Shiro. He teaches there also like a Western. Where's my notebook? Anyway, I just redraw his handout here. So he mentioned this interesting. I don't know the original source. Maybe he developed it on his own. So he said the mountain is more angular at the top and become more rounded at the bottom. So if it has to do with the edge of the mountain. So this part is newer, right? Now, usually it's taller. So it's like let's just say 10,000 feet above sea level. And then when you get to 10,000, I don't know if it's just like half 500. No? just an example. It could be 100,000 or 50,000 here, whatever. So it become like a half round or squirrel, I will say, between round and the square. And then at the bottom of the foot of mountain, you will get the boulders, right? So in Chinese painting, we use different surface texture. Like here we use X cut for the stone, like Monet does. Not Monet, Cezanne does. He found this in the new Olympic tools. This marks, and he applied this to his stroke, similar to this. And then this may be something in between. Then on the bottom, we use a hemp stroke, like a rope. Like a hemp, you know, the hemp. I have this is a hemp rope, right? Entangled or entangled. Right? So if you entangle it, you have this kind of this like so yes. So it could be. But the early style is like parallel lines, and the Dong Qichang, the mid-Ming master, he said basically the line just follow the contour with this, straight lines. So he does not make it curve. It also works, and this inherited by his cross-generation student, because Dong Qichang, okay, the founder of Orthodox school theory, he taught his grandfather, Wang Yuanqi's grandfather, Wang Shiming. He was then grandson of Dong Qichang's colleague in the court, I think. And then Wang Shiming passed that to Wang Yuanqi. So they had this kind of they have turned the hemp stroke into more like a straight lines, similar to the brush marks I've seen in Cezanne's painting. That's that kind of yeah. Anyway, just an observation, maybe not really. It's just I don't really think Cezanne learned this from the Eastern publications or something, but it could be. I think that the interpretation of this book also it says he got the idea from the Neolithic, the oldest stone tools. Anyway, let me just save some time by watching a video on the internet. So let's see. My channel. Okay, let me share the screen so you can see where you can find it later. Share screen, and this is my channel. Okay, share. So this is my channel. You can see it's live. I don't want to have the sound. Let me putting a keyword dragging man. And this video is recommended by the Wall Street Journal at the beginning of the lockdown to study the Chinese painting during this time. Dragging man. Okay, there are two sections. Let's just watch one of that. Let me pass this. Can you hear the sound? Because I'm muted here. Okay.
And helps you get pixel perfect.
Can you hear it? No? Okay, good.
Hello, everybody. I'm Henry Lee from blueheronarts.com. Today, I'm introducing you the traditional Chinese painting for beginners. Here is a complete picture I did before, entitled The Flying Dragon. You can see the ridge of the mountains look like a dragon going along in the mist or clouds. So in Chinese landscape, the ridge of the mountain is known as the dragon vein. The ridge is the vein of a dragon, a spine, if you like. When we paint, we always start from the outline of the veins. I'm going to show you step by step now. The brush I'm going to use is the feather hair, relatively pointed. Still, in landscape painting, we like to use broken brush, like a used brush. This is a new, when it's new, it's still a parted. That's why we use for landscape. Very good. You can see the brush, partial hair of whole brush, just the front. So you start with the outline, like that. Notice the order, so 1, 2, 3. Let's do another one. By the way, the paper I'm using is called the semi-sized Xuan rice paper. It's not that smearing or bleeding when you go very slow. You can see it's absorbent, but not that much smearing, because we use the almond water, light almond water, to size it.
And you can go faster speed when you use YouTube. This is normal speed. Let me fasten a little bit. So we save a few minutes.
You can see I can go very slow, but not smearing at all.
This is the double speed.
Let me number it. You'll see. So you have to develop the formation of a mountain in an order, just like you would do with the dragon. Usually the first stroke determines the structural tendency towards left or towards right or up or down. So you follow that to do the rest of it. Notice there's no parallel line. You have to vary the distance between each line, and you can divide it or add it up, but not the same distance between each hill. You can add small rocks like that. And you can when you practice, you can do small. Just use all the papers. To practice, you can start with the line. You always start from the left lower corner, and then notice the pressure variation and the turns and curves, not even,
We can play normal speed and you can paint along if you like.
You can reverse the order of 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3 here. Not necessarily 1, 2, 3. You can go 1, 2, and 3, and or 1, 2, 3. But 3 a group, it's good. The Chinese character for mountain is like this. This is the horizon. So the Chinese character today is like this. It derived from a pictograph. Okay, practice this, and you can use a small pencil or pen to practice, or just use this sham paper, and you can do small strokes. Here are some don'ts that you should avoid to do. First is parallel. So if you have all the lines like this, it's no good. You should avoid parallel lines. You should vary the distance between each line. So another is avoid, how do you say, 支离, scattered or aparted without connection. So your mountain look like this. Remember when we do the dragging vein, it's actually to connect the, to build the inner structure, the bone of the mountain. So you will not apart it. So the dragging vein is the backbone of the mountain. You should have the connection. So you develop it in an orderly way, one by one, follow some direction and movement of the mountain formation. And third is to avoid too sharp. Third don't is to avoid too sharp, like this. The pointed peak is no good. You should have the mountain between round and square, but not triangle. The other one is to, the fourth don't is to avoid hanging rock. Like if you want to put a rock here, you don't do the rock like this, it will fall. So you should have, all the rock should have support. So not falling.
So does this seem familiar to you? How about this? Have you ever been at a show?
Okay. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Yes, very.
Thank you. So today we will introduce another very closely related concept to paint rocks. Okay, I just found my note from Rob's class yesterday. Let's let me illustrate this. I think it's very helpful to understand the Chinese concept of 十分三面, or 3 faces of a rock. In Chinese, we say there's 3 faces of a rock. It's always hard to translate. Some translate it like the Mustard translated 3 faces, just like a person, you know, it has the appearance. Basically, it says the rock has a character, but in Wang Yuanqi or in contemporary, you know, modern artists, they may think this is just like in the Western sense. So let's say what Rob has to say, and please follow me if you want to write just a bar. Okay, and then you draw one slant and then one slant like that. You don't have to be even, Y-shaped. So think of a box. That's what this is. So when you paint something, you have a mental representation in your mind which guides you. And this may not appear in the end product, but it helps. So if you think about this, you get a rock, okay? And you have 1, 2, 3 dimensions, all right? Is that interesting? And then you just chop out the corner to make it more realistic. But that's the Western approach. How the Chinese would do this? Let me give you an idea. Let's see. Can find it in my books. It's in my mind though. So the Chinese has this go and le concept. This is a go, and this is a le. It's a Tai Chi, you know, the Tai Chi fish idea. Le. I forgot how to write it. I think that's probably it. Huh? Look, right. Okay. And then you make a Y there. That's, if you will see this in Dong Qichang or Wang Yuanqi's paintings. That's the Chinese way doing it. So the outline, the contour first, and then the division of a 3 dimension with a twin or surface texture. Okay. Rob has yesterday I just learned his process, his mental representation. He said when he studied rocks, he would study real rocks or the other artists in Chinese case, and then he will draw upon the rules, that learned from a theory, maybe just like this. And then you can make up your own rocks. And after that, you restudy the real rocks by going to nature and with your knowledge in your mind. So when you go to do plein air, you already know this kind of stroke, right? That's the same process with the Chinese painting. And yet we have another very important concept to build a Chinese garden or miniature landscape. It's called Kaihu. And this was also borrowed. I don't know which field comes first. I think the Chinese painting comes first. And then we have the garden, which started in Song Dynasty. At the same time, we had the landscape painting, when they collect these strange rocks and build the mountain with the pieces of not potato shaped like you see in Wang Yuqi's painting, but very strange rocks. So they will search for this kind of rocks and build it, right? And so I'm going to show you another episode following up, directly following up the last video I made. It's called the Kaihu, or opening and closing. I have to go back to my channel, do another search. Okay, maybe it's already here. Let's see. Share screen. Okay. Let me share screen again so I can show you how to find it. Okay. This is my channel, and I will. Oops. Oh, here we go. What's that? That's an auction. How do I get rid of this? I think I click on the ad instead. Let me see. Let me do a Kaihu and let's just find it. Okay, here we go. Concept of Kaihu. Okay, I need to start.
I'm Henry Lee from blueheronarts.com. Today, we're going to continue the discussion of traditional Chinese painting. In last two YouTubes, we have discussed the concept of nongmai, or dragging vein, and cun, or texture modeling, texture wrinkle in Chinese painting. Today, we're going to explore the concept of kaihe, or opening and closing. The concept of kaihe, or opening and close, refers to the creative process of Chinese landscape painting. Kaihe, translated in English as unity of coherence, is a general term composed of two Chinese characters. The first character, kai, means to open, which always suggests to divide, to separate, and to expand, as in the word fen kai. The second character, he, means to close, which also means to join, gathering up, or winding up. The significance of kaihe has two folds of understanding, or two levels in the Chinese landscape painting theory. The first level, it has to do with the creative attitude. I would think this is a metaphysical level.
Usually the ontological level.
In a landscape painting, the artist acts as a creator. He escapes the distraction of representational likeness and deals directly with the pure relationship of open and close or chaos and union. How many of you have seen the movie Avatar? Yes, I did. I love the floating mountains, which was reportedly inspired by the real Chinese landscapes in areas like Mount Huangshan, in Guilin, and especially the Zhangjiajie National Park, as you see in these pictures. Here is the movie setting. What amazed me is that the floating mountains in that movie set in the outer space was purely created by the imagination of a computer landscape artist. The inspiration from the Chinese landscapes and other places on Earth. However, they have recreated the entire world of Pandora from scratch, not bounded by any earthly rules that we have seen in our life. You can see an early landscape painting I've done in 1994. It's an abstraction of landscape. You might think it's a floating mountain. I actually did this in the idea of a potted landscape. So the Kaihu concept has to do with the idea of a creator creating the landscape in your art as if you are a creator. Long time ago in the Song Dynasty in China, the Chinese has fascinated to build artificial landscapes in their garden with strange stones and found rocks. Later, they simply applied the idea of Kaihu to create a potted landscape in a pot. It's different from miniature landscape, which is scaled down from the real world, but they create the landscape out of their mind. It's known as a bonsai in Japanese and penjing in Chinese today. And even today, you can see the gardens are still built in the idea like a painting. The wall behind white wall is like a paper, and the mountains and water decorate the garden as in the principle of Kaihu composition. So in the practical level, the term of Kaihu refers to the composition principles to open and close. Has to do with the composition of a painting. That is, when you open or kai a mountain or hill that separate from one another, you must think of the pulling them together. And when you put mountains together, you need to think of the dividing them. Each landscape in potted landscape art has one or two Kaihu, as seen in this picture. Kai means to separate. So you have two groups of a mountain. One is the host and one is the guest. It's divided by a valley or a lake, if you will. And in all the potted landscape, you will see one Kaihu or two Kaihus, because in one large Kaihu, there are small Kaihus within the group, within each group. Let's take a look at some other examples. When you only have the union or the he element without dividing or kai, you lose the rhythm, and so you need to think of dividing when you put mountains together, and you need to think the putting together when you divide hills or mountains. That's the term of Kaihu. So each group is one Kaihu, with dividing Kai and He together is a complete picture or landscape. Here are some bad and good examples. This example shows you only have the He element without Kai or dividing. It's a piece of rock without dividing, look like boring. And if you only have small rocks without a unifying peak or major host mountain, you lose the point of interest. Here you have a unity of a major mountain or hill. Then you divide it with a guest mountain group, and then connect them with some scattered.
Okay, by the way, I call this middle one a jumper. So you have a large group, a medium group, and then a small one. Small one usually called a jumper.
Rock in between. So you form a Kaihu landscape with Kaihu. Together is He, and then you separate them with water or valley.
That small one could be a boat.
To sum up, Kaihu means to open or to separate, and He means to close. However, when you deal with the separation, you need to think of the opposite element, that is the union. And when you deal with the monolithic mountain, you need to think the separation of the elements. So don't just rely on one. A good painting should have both elements, Kai and He. Kai and He. That's a good principle to remember in your composition of landscape and the creation of your own landscape. So you don't need to rely on the real thing. It's according to this principle, you can create your own landscape, a good landscape, freely. So a whole creating process is called Kaihu. It's like you build a potted landscape from scratch, or with your computer, as you see in Avatar. You are the creator. You are the artist. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.
Do you understand now the opening and the closing? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. If you read the article by Wang Yuanqi, you will get into his mindset, to his mental representation. When he started painting, he will start to kind of think about the highest, the lowest, the movement of the dragon wing, the formation of the mountain, etc. So let's look at his paintings. We only have 1 hour, so we have to quickly decide which one to do first. So we'll browse these options for you, and then we number them, and you write the number down, your preferred one, and then let me know in the end. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to show you 12, the album I sent you. Oops. It should be crops. I got too many files. The full ones. The full ones. Album. I got too many pictures to show you, so I have to eliminate all the others, but concentrate on this album. Okay, so let me see if I can share the screen now. Maybe this is a good idea. When you see the painting you want to paint, just shout out, you know, like I will see how many people like, so we don't have to vote in the end. I think that just say, oh, let's do this one, let's do that one. So this would be interesting. So this is number 1. It's after Dong Yuan, the Northern Song master. But you know, he never copied the original. Sometimes he copied according to the description of his grandfather, not copy, just paint from the description of his grandfather. And then when he saw some nature, trees or rocks, he related to his mind representation or mental representation, and then he painted it out. This is a combination of 2 ancient pieces he saw, but not painted in front of them. So when we do this kind of study, we should go beyond tracing, because at the first level, I told you how to read carefully all the other vocabularies and the strokes, and you try to kind of fake it, right? Forge it, like Zhang Chen did. But now we try to get to his approach, his creative copying process. Okay, this is the Mi dots we learned last time. Remember the raining landscape, the horizontal. Right. Yeah, he does it so abstract, right? Let me show you details, and you can zoom in to see. You know, by using the detective skill we learned earlier. So you know, he started from light ink to dark, light wet ink to dry darker ink, and then color, and finally highlight, accenting with the dark dots. Okay.
I like this one.
You like this one? I know. It's always good, Susan, thank you, to build on the skill you already learned, you know, to develop from there. So we learned this last time, and we can do this one. Yeah, this is one of my favorites too. And let's just complete that. And this is a Ni Yunlin style. This is one of Victoria's favorite.
Yeah, I like that one. And it's since we only have an hour, maybe it's less to do.
Yeah,
I like this one too.
I like that one too.
Same here.
Okay. That's good.
I like number 2.
Okay. This is another one without color, the same Mi style, but this one, yeah, this one without color. This is also a good one. We already learned last time, similar to that. This one is colorful. This is a snow landscape. Oh, this one's Victoria's favorite. Maybe too complicated. I want to show you though. You know, it has a villa.
This is my favorite.
That's my favorite. Yeah, I like this one. I love this one.
This is more advanced. Maybe we don't have to do the same, but I can show you how to do. Maybe I start 3 of them just to take turns. See if I can. Yeah, that would be fun. Just like you know, they said there's a secret to become master, like the chess, who can master and play 10 games at once. Because in his brain, he has already stored all this mental representation, so he can easily relate to them, and for him, it's very easy to remember or to make decisions, because he got a library in his mind Yeah, this is another Ni Zhan style. It's a relatively easier.
Too similar to what we've already done.
Yeah, this is similar to the Yan style. But his color, but definitely I'll go with color, right? His color is very,
yes,
it's all very good. So let's decide between this is
that one, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Since we have a short time.
Yeah, let's do
Yes.
this.
Yeah, this is a nice.
If you like, yeah, you can.
This one is nice, simple.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a Z shape. You see the Z, right? So let's.
yes.
So Henry, what's his, specialty? The style is like learning from his grandfather. So I still don't quite get it.
His style is
exactly.
Huang Gong Wang, and Yu basically. This one is his favorite is Huang Gong Wang. I think they compared to Monet. Cezanne. Cezanne likes Poussin. That's his model. Poussin, yeah, Poussin. So each of them have a role model to try to surpass, not just inherit, learn, try to reinterpret. So let's do this one. Ni Zhan. You can enlarge it on your own window.Maybe I can. Basically, let me show you a complete painting I already did, and a very close-up view of a good print. This is another. You can start painting. Okay, just draw with light ink to draw the outlines. I'm going to catch you up, so you don't have to wait. But I want to show you this picture I saved from a calendar. The same calendar we used last time. I only saved 2 from the 12 pieces. When I come to the States, I only have like 2 luggages in which I packed everything, my book, my painting. I had to be very economical on this. So this 2 paintings, my treasure, I had to carry with me. So I did a lesson on this already. If you check, I think it's lesson 17 or something like that. And this is the result you can see behind me. I don't see. Anyway, if you check that lesson, you'll see the close-up of that painting I did after this original. So that's the same kind of style like we're doing here. Colorful meaning, that's his invention, I think, and I mean development. So he all the Orthodox school follow the Yuan dynasty masters, Huang Gong Wang, Li Zhan, Wang Meng, and he did the same, and Wu Zhen, yeah. So 4 masters. I'm going to enlarge this part, the foreground. So you need to make a sketch of the whole dragon man. The dragon man.
What paper are you using?
I happen to grab. Let me see. I think it's a sized one. Is that good? Sized one. Yeah, this is a size. I think it's easier to do on sized paper in this case. I'm going to use a little color to start with, just start with a little. I see a lot of gray there, so let's start with a little bit indigo, little bit mineral green. I just got left over here, and some ink to get a light gray. So I will just do some outlines of the rocks on the foreground. We can also start from the middle ground if you want. Basically, I see 2 opening and closing thing. So the first opening is the foreground. Let's just do this tree first. You can do the rock first. but let me see. I'll just draw this whole piece in very light ink, and then we will divide it, I think. But he has saved some little bits of white. That's the challenge. So we have to outline to save this this white. So I'll just draw without really exactly copy it, briefly this slope. So this is called one pour, two banks and the river in between, right? So you can draw with water if you like. Just draw the contour of this this shape, and then notice the level of the water. I think that's it could be wrong, but you can correct it later. So don't worry about the inner division yet. So I draw basically with a very, very light ink, like here. Just you can draw with charcoal, but I just did with a brush. It's easier for me. So just like we did with the early practice, you draw the contour with the division. Try to identify this Y's, okay? I think if you think Y, you don't have to look at his rocks. You just draw Y's. If you see some block, you just draw three, just like Y there, Y there. You know what I mean? You build up your mountain, your garden like that. So this is another cliff. This look at the whole height in the picture. It's about half, below half. So not so tall. Like right here, there's a cliff there, and so this is like a peak. That's on the lake. It's not going to be very tall because, like we talked about, the triangle shape is on the very high mountain, like a snowy mountain or something. Above the lake, it's usually rounded. Okay, so you really don't have to copy exactly. So that could be, and this is an interesting. The islands are. I won't say this is horizon. So I want to make sure it's island. So it could be slant. You create this kind of interesting movement. It's already too high. I noticed it should be very close to this peak. What I can do is, if I cannot erase it, I have to, just move up this hill maybe, or I can leave more opening here. I see in the plan of perspective that we did in our class yesterday. I think this is very important to mention here. So the space getting narrower and narrower, right? So that's why in Chinese painting we don't talk about this this plane, this perspective. But you can see very clearly he has a foreground relatively largest empty space here. Not really, but here's the largest. So, but this is a big lake. They lived in the tide lake. So I just finished this part. So maybe just be careful. I don't copy my mistake. This could be narrower, but I just make it into a smaller landscape. I mean, smaller island, not really a horizon. I think you could make something like a middle ground. It could be maybe a divided. Anyway, that's my thinking. So you go with the flow of the qi, and then I would do the trees first because it's in front of the in front of the rock, right? There's a pine tree. You don't have to worry about the name of the trees again. So just icon or symbol. I start from the middle. There's no straight line on the tree according to the theory of Chinese landscape. So I just draw these broken lines maybe. Oh, there's a curve there. Well, I accidentally put it in front of this one of the slope. That's fine. You know, you can do that. I use medium grade. Maybe it's easier to go further into dark or light. So I make a split there, and a split not exactly the same angle on the other side. So there are arcs in the tree. You can see there are many arcs, right? So we just use gray ink. Just I use the soft brush. You can use a stiff brush. I think it's easier to do the tree with a stiff brush, which is brown colored usually. The brown color is stiff. And make a smaller one behind maybe. But I think it's better to leave it on the same plan, maybe. I don't know. This one actually is not really behind that much. There are two arcs on the tree, so just one and then another in the same direction. So dry brush to if you're not sure, and then you can use light and the wet to give some moisture so they're not so dry. So when you add to it, you can use a different tone, different dryness. But generally speaking, he used a lot of dry brush here, and you can see some white split on the tree, and something like that. And you can use breaking ink, wet into wet, if you will. But he probably did it at the last, I said. But you can use a very dry brush on water. That's a easy approach to do. So if you make any mistake with water, you don't have to use ink to confirm it. That's what I'm trying to do. And the another arms extend that, and this is the pine tree has needles, and we learned that, right? But it doesn't matter. He has mistake. Don't try to copy. But that's what we call. I think I mentioned in shithouse painting. It's called blobs or mistake stains. That's part of the style. Okay, if you have that kind of blob, it just shows you care less on this kind of unimportant aspect of painting, and concentrate more on the abstract idea of dragging in or Kaihu, or more, what more important makes painting is beyond. I think in one of his inscription of Cezanne, he said, the painting actually is beyond salt and salty or sour. Just like a cook, it's beyond the taste of salt, or it's something ontological. I use the metaphysical, maybe not metaphysical. That's the origin of the word, right? The supernatural. But ontological means that it's the form system is more important than what it represents. there's a picture rule to follow, but there's an ontological rule of a Dao or something. So you can always go back to add more. Let me see. So the two tree, or this tree is whatever it is, could be a willow tree, could be that's always a scientific question to answer. But in Chinese painting, we only have pine trees named after the real tree. The other trees are called other trees. And this willow tree maybe could be a willow tree by the water. Usually it's a willow. So willow tree and tong tree, you know, the big leaf tong tree, oil lacquer source. That's a few trees, but the other trees just called trees. But we have this kind of style types according to this Orthodox school. They developed this. They use this as the building blocks, a piece and parts. Yeah. And we learned this yesterday in our Western class. We call that piece. He called that piece and parts. But we don't have a book in Western painting that, like, I do have some essential books, but it's too shallow, maybe, you know, too much like a beginner painting, not really based on master studies. But in Chinese, we are fortunate to have this kind of Orthodox school. They come from, stick to the masters. In Chinese painting, we said, if you study from the master, you become a middle master. If you study from a so-so normal small master, you become, you know, just degrades with what you. So it's very important to find a good teacher. In the if you don't find a teacher, find you know, an artist you like to copy, and then analyze his style and use and then practice the parts, and then you put together according to the parts, using the parts, and then get feedbacks from the teacher, and then you correct it, you fix it. That's the process of what we call deliberate practice, right? In learning any skills, music, sports, you have to go beyond your comfort zone, because when we reach certain acceptable level, we tend to stop, and then your skill tends to degenerate over time if you not keep learning, break through your comfort zone. So this lesson is aimed to break your comfort zone, and then to elevate your mental representation level, and then, you know, to form new mental representation when you paint. So to keep you progress in the painting. One way to do that is to learn sister art, you know, like different media, different even different form of art, like music. You see, I'm using dry brush a lot. So I had light, wet. Now I'm using a little darker, dry, and then I maybe go back to wet, again with a different tone, just to, but we never complete with one element. So you kind of like a form an orchestra or a symphony of a different instrument, different. In this case, we have different strokes and the tones all work together. So that's. But start light is very important. Then you can just go through the paint trees overlapping with the light rocks like that. Maybe it's 7 layers is needed to complete, or 4. So let's do a tree there. This is very familiar in Cezanne or Huanggongwan, the Yuan Dynasty masters. We learned before. Then this is horizontal line. You use light ink to begin with, and then you add color and then dark. I think that's how I did it. And then you can use a softer brush for the leaves. I just have a trick to show you. But on this paper, you don't really need to use any glue. I have peach sap glue, a little bit left here, and you can control the smearing with this if you need on raw paper. And see the dots I do is with some kind of rhythm. You see the one that's sticking out. That's a variation in size, but you don't have to vary too much. Like here, it's a minor group of a tree. You don't want to make this too active, so you want to keep it to the background, and especially near the edge. You don't want to really make it stand out. So I use leaves to squeeze out the light, but I may lost some. It's okay. I use darker ink later too, and you can use a tissue to blot off the paint if it's too dark. On this paper, it's non-absorbent paper. You can do that. Absorbent paper is difficult. Okay. I have to do this house now, I think. And there's a trees in front of that, so let's see. You have to look at the whole picture. Let's just do this here. So there's a tall tree, almost like the cliff right there. So just draw the left line of that tree and then another tree, and just match that line with a right one, and you can add some branches like that. I cannot really see. Let me zoom in. So this is another tree with the jit. It's 4-stroke group. Like Cezanne, he doesn't really care about the distance and the front ground. So they use the same kind of tone, but just getting smaller, maybe less detail somehow. But in terms of tonality, it's not so varied. I think it's almost the same as the foreground. Doesn't matter. So, but the height may be more important here. And I see the connection between these two groups. I got lost. So that's too open, right? So when I don't have a sketch to copy, so you will see the opening and closing at work now. But I can use other elements to combine them. I see the artist has grouped this two grounds, foreground and middle ground trees together to get a dense area. What I can do, let me see. Let me just add some dark, just make sure this is in the front. Okay. And then if it's too dark, I blot it away a little bit. Okay, now, let's see. I hate to add another tree, so we just make this leaf a little further on this side, maybe. I'm using 4-stroke group. It could be 4, it could be 5. So, and see, I draw this in a continuous way, group by group. I don't do it in one. This is like writing the Chinese character for jie, the mustard, the jie, that has a grass top. The lower part is this. We call that like the leaf. But you do it in a grass style, so it's like I think I taught this before. So something like that. So maybe 3 and then add 1 or 2 on top. So that's how you don't have to worry about the gradation. You just do the lighter ones, and then you break it with or accumulate another layer. So this brush is too dull. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's the speed really shows the attitude. You have to do it with a certain speed, like that, so you could get the rhythm really. And let's do a house. Okay, let's see. I think I messed up with this ground. This tree is too high. It's already on this level, so it should be down here. What I can do? Oh well, I have to just to stay with this. So you can see, it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter in the end. Even you copy, everybody will be different. Because the training, because if you have a better drawing skill, you can do better with the composition. But I have better skill with brush control, so I can have a better stroke. So each all the experience contributed to your mental representation and the end result. So you need to develop your own knowledge and to match that with your skill. So we all be at the same artistic level, but different with different individuality or signature, personality, whatever I call it. So this is not easy to copy, because everybody copy Cezanne, but nobody really can reproduce Cezanne. He's a neat freak, right? Neat freak. He has a personality. That is unique Cezanne. And we see an opening window. I think maybe there's a window here. Anyway, so that's my house, and there are trees I see bamboo grooves on this side, but I don't have room, so I just plant in front of this, and then here behind, and here some just around the house with some verticals, and then we dot some horizontal representing the bamboo. I don't know why I can tell it's bamboo, but maybe you can't, because I read so much. It's not really look like a bamboo. Conventionally, we do it more like a narrower with the horizontal lines longer, but maybe for some reason he just simplified it into this kind of we can still read it as a bamboo because it's like grass style writing, cursive style writing. It's still readable because maybe there's no branches, just the vertical stalk and a few horizontal dots. That's maybe you can identify, just one or two clearly, and then the rest will be interpreted by the viewer as bamboo, as long as they can identify the few clear ones. So let's just do some horizontal ones. Okay, and there's a hill behind that has no shaping strokes, the surface texture under that. For shaping, I use dry brush, but very firmly, not just like skimming on the surface. You need to deliver it with a certain pressure to create this kind of he called it mao, or hairy, or not fuzzy. I call this rugged. That's the foreground maybe, but yeah, this kind of fluffy. I don't know how to describe mao. It's hairy, basically, yeah. Or like granny sometimes, or matte, rather than the opposite of mao is too shiny, too smooth, too glossy. That's the word. See this gold two strokes for the rock we just talked about. Now you can kind of define it, if you like, with this kind of contour, reinstate if you need. It's better to have some like background noise already, so you don't have to clarify from beginning. I mean, yeah, you don't want to go like a very defined. You just concentrate on the whole. That's what, and then you hide the mistakes. You leave the good ones. That's what he said. The process is very different from each painting, I think. And then you can accumulate ink if it's not enough. Okay, I'm going to do you don't have to finish one tree and then do the other. You can still start from everywhere and then try to see the wholeness of the picture. Okay, let's see. I've already got some light ink here. I do this rock. So the darkest part is the last, remember? So we just use dry brush to add some second layer to the first layer of the wet wash. Okay, the wet draft. And this is a little complicated, but you just use your knowledge to paint. You don't have to really. You seek the stone nose. Here's one like this division line, so that divides into three. Right? That top plane is white, and So there are several small divisions anyway. And I try to relate this spine, the dragging man I talked about. Then you can see them maybe. And there are some square ones on top, like I mentioned, on top always newer, and but near the water is rounded. So this could be like using the X cut. And here, actually, we go beyond this frame. So you need to go beyond the frame. Okay. I have to add up some. Maybe we can add a waterfall. I don't know. Okay, so there's a slope that's more like the hemp style, the parallel, and then to the water level we have this rounded border, half in the water maybe, so we only see the top, and some rounded ones like that. And I noticed that there's some curve, not exactly, and you can use drafty lines instead of just one single line. You can do arrow and try an arrow, or just leave multiple lines is fine. And use different tones to correct them. And I see a bank. Actually, it's here, so we have to do another one. Anyway. I just use stroke. I squeeze out the white with the back layer, like that. This is called the rubbing technique, tabbing and rubbing. In his writing, you can find these words, rub and tab, to add the textures like that. And there's small dragging one there, and rising to another peak there, and some kind of waving lines to make you feel like it's water, not clouds, but leveled. But this painting has a slant horizon, so to speak. Let's keep that slant. Okay. We don't do the remote mounting with any contour. But it's getting smaller, and another Kaihu, maybe opening and close. Okay. This just like pouring the stroke like that. And you can bend the stroke to get the slope down in the left side, and this is a shady part. This is shady part. You can use a little breaking ink, just to let it wet. We can create 2 layers. Don't repeat. You can overlap with a little darker ink if you want to change later.
Henry,
Sorry. Go ahead.
This remote island, if I paint it high, so that will give you the deeper view, will that be it? Why he painted that low?
I think low is more realistic, right? It should be the eye level, unless you're looking at it from the sky. So, but 2-dimensionally speaking, it's he just give room for imagination. It's called voids, and the Li always does that. So it has a lot of space for commentaries, maybe. So they write a lot of things on top. Since we are not writing this, I think the painting may be a little longer than what we have. I think it's okay to have less space for the sky. I think if in Western painting we don't really leave so much sky or so much water. There's no reason we should see so much water. But if you did that like I did here, I think that's okay. Just a bigger water. That's it. So don't think too much about the realism or the logic. Just go with your feeling, mood. That kind of if it makes you feel right, it's right. Okay, so I'm going to do some coloring, and then we'll do the highlight. Maybe that's the next. And then dots. The dots will come the last. So let's do this rock first, and just try to complete this before time. People had to leave. Okay, so I would use a little bit indigo with ink here, and you can mix a little mineral to get the blue. When he applied the ink, it just goes on like one stroke, and without blending. That's on the inside. Right? Here it's like that. Right? It will dry lighter, so you can do a little darker than you expect, and you can do another one. Just leave something in between like that, and then he doesn't have much ink on that layer, so I'll use some ink. Just the ink to do. So he has something like just the ink. He did probably as a 2 separate steps. I just do it in one step, maybe just to save time. So I'll alternate this too. So I'll use color on some of the foreground. You can use yellow in it. Then you can add yellow, I think, later. And brown also. Brown should go first, actually. Let's do a brown. Okay, let me see. I got some brown here. So he would use brown first, I think, and then the greens and the yellows. So just the brown. You see how random it is? It has nothing to do with the color theory in the West, but it's just, you have to think about the whole balance, the scattered pattern, maybe some kind of, so it has to do with the pattern, concentrate, disperse, that kind of idea maybe in Western painting, similar to this. So I put some brown on the branch, also on this tree, and you can leave some white. You don't have to fill in all the blanks. Like I see a lot of white here on the, maybe this is considered shady part. You can have more brown. It doesn't matter. You can add some green to brown to make one tree darker, and another tree. Oh, there's another tree. I see the 3-tree group. Yeah, let's do that. I just omitted that. I don't know. I didn't see that. So we can.
Henry, just the pure amber.
Yeah, amber. You can adjust the amber with some ink to mute it if you need it, or you can add a little yellow or a little vermilion to make it more warm, I think.
Henry, is there a number for that amber? Umber,
yeah.
I mean, umber?
Yeah.
You didn't.
I used the block amber, but you can use the numbered ones, which is the number 684 amber, and vermilion. That's if you don't have amber, you can use 399 plus gamboge 218, the yellow. So this.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can add indigo to it. It's opposite color, right? So let me just add indigo and the blue. So blue, yellow, and the red. This is what we call the indigo and amber painting. This one, it's basically amber, indigo. I do use a little bit mineral. I see that here a little opaque because it's lighter than indigo. And you can use indigo overlap with this ink, but not repeat exactly the stroke. You can go, a little beyond, or it's less than the tree you did, and then you can dot with the same stroke. The color is not a wash, okay? It applied the same the same way as you did with the ink.
What do you mean it's not a wash?
Wash is brushless. It's just a wet, flat wash. And this is applied with the same kind of stroke. You can see that, right? You can see the dots right there, right?
Oh, okay. But mountain is just the wash, right?
No. That's my point. You can see how decisive the stroke is. I can see the calligraphy. I mean, it's a very arbitrary stroke instead of just one stroke, so to speak. That's one stroke, just 5 strokes. That's why I have confidence I can finish this painting before before the time. I'm saying I have 3 minutes. Okay, let's do that. No talk. Okay. Maybe I cannot finish, but I try. So basically, you apply the color according to kinds. That, let's say the tree trunk is all brown, but you kind of mix, kind of overlap them somewhere. So you can apply brown randomly on the rock, and then you add the cool colors. And you can see that he omits some part for the highlight, the light, the yan in Chinese we call that. And so there are a lot of unpainted, just white there. Yeah, I hate to use the same brush because I try to separate the two so you can see clearly the two are applied. They mix, they blend on the paper, not on the palette. Okay. So, it's not really has to do with light or something more scientific. It's just the feel. If you just the balance of a. Let me mute the noise. Okay, so let me enlarge this part. Okay. Now you see the dark trees. Yeah, I think I have to dot that. So there are some trees. You actually do the trunk in two lines, and then you dot horizontal ones. The little ones could be dotted later, but you can start to do this because it's above the rock. You don't have to worry about it smearing. And if it's wet, you need to. So the best practice is to wait it dries, so they don't really blend into each other. They build up. Okay. And you can use dots to make a line, but not make it like a beads on a string. Try to create some rhythm still, but they could form a movement, a direction of the dragon wing could be indicated with your dots also. And so we just use dark to reinstate this, and then I'll do the wash, do the color. Let's just do color on this one and color on the brush. Okay, just like you can use dry brush if it's too wet. You know, the background is same color. I really don't need to vary the value. Right? Oh, the time is up. So sorry about the extension. Let me finish this quickly. This part, the mountain has a little bit green, I think, especially in this part. We have mineral green. Let's just add that. Mineral green is opaque. That it's kind of mild. Instead of using transparent green, we use mineral green here. And it's good to have a brown, and then you add green to it. It's a very nice combination. Just like that. And leave some white, it's okay. This some medium dots, medium dark dots to indicate the vegetation. You see, when I have no time, I just go to, that's better. It's better to do faster. Okay, now I need to do the distant mountain. You can just use indigo instead of, let me see, he has some, yeah, it's kind of a mix of indigo and little mineral. So you don't have to do exactly the same part. According to your own composition, it could be different. So this one, theoretically, it's lower than the front. I don't know if that makes sense. See, I have some little white there. I don't worry because this is clouds maybe. And I can add a little smaller one just between the saddle, the lower part. And you can use a little water to blend the bottom if you need, but not necessary, because his style is very carefree style. Just one stroke. It's very straightforward. What a la plama, that's true. A la plama is one stroke approach, no second chance. So a lot of mustards. I just use this mustard brush. Okay, so you can add, I don't know how to reproduce this mistake ink. Let's just put mustards there. It could be the corn of a pine, that's something like that in the pine. And you can add a few dark ones, needles, but not to complete. Again, just to highlight. You can add some groups, not to repeat the same one if you want. And this has a ink dark. This here has some dark. I use a clean brush to smear it. Okay, this part is a little bit light, too light, so we need to. Let me see. Add a little bit dark, not same, but not too much. what I do is I can dot with normal ink. And then if I want to lighten it, I just use a piece of rice paper, blot it, it becomes lighter. And to make some clear ones on top, maybe. And you can use some dark indigo or indigo and the ink mix to do that. Okay, just create some kind of rhythm. And this one, same thing. If you enlarge it, you'll see that variation of. Actually, the ink comes on top. You can use dark ink. But generally, this one is behind this one, so this one in the front. That's okay. And you can use dry brush some color. So color is used as ink, as if it's ink. That's his invention, I think. That's obviously his invention. You can do some mustards here, there for bushes. You can use mustards on the joint part or the division, just squeeze out the white, just to create. You can stop at any point. It should be still balanced. That's the thing. So that's the idea of the wholeness, the Kaihu, or the opening and closing. Just to create more kind of rhythm. Dots to dot along the slope, and some green color. Along the river, there might be a little green, like a grass, but not necessarily. It's not a realistic painting, so just wherever you feel not right, it's the right thing to do. So this part is like a most concentrated brown, and then get the lighter and lighter. Right, that's another one. So in the front, let's see, it's not too much color in the front, so it's all muted because the focus is on the back. So we just use lighter ink to finish. We can mute the whole thing with more grays and a little bit color. Let's see. Just make sure that the blocks are not the same size, and just vary the shape. It looks, as long as it's natural. Oops, this. All right, just like that. So
Henry, the focus is on the middle right rock, right? Is that what it is?
Everywhere is a focus in this kind of painting. So if you take any part off, it will fall down.
Okay.
Really abstract answer. You understand?
Uh-huh.
Highlight a little bit. And mustards on the rock. We call it mustards. It's vegetation. Could be I see some grass kind of thing, like a little verticals we learned yesterday. Rob also used this technique. So on the bottom of the rock, usually there's vertical little, suggestion of reeds. He called it weeds in the dry land. We call it reeds around the water. So that's, but not in the distance maybe. But we can have a little suggestion of color. Color could suggest some vegetation there. You can put some vegetation along the bottom, vertical dots, like a little suggest, of grass, that kind of thing, along the river. So it's not a flat horizontal line. You can put some little dots there. Okay, let me see. That's about it. Yeah, he has some kind of a signature thing, like he got a brown right up there. You don't have to copy exactly, but if you like, you can try to see if you can get the same kind of accidental effect. That's just something you cannot really copy, but okay, that's about it. So it's basically like a music, it's about harmony and unity in what do we call that? Coherence. Coherence, yeah. So just alternate warm and cool, maybe. And let me just wash the bamboo with a little green, so you will register as bamboo. Behind the house, maybe a little bit, but not to the extent to cover the ink. Okay, that's about it. It's 4:42 now. I'm going to sign. Let's just use the title. That's Fang. His Fang colored small landscape by Cezanne. But we cannot say Fang, right? What we will say. In this case, I'll just say Ning style. It's kind of hard to say. I think customarily we just mention Cezanne, but the composition is based on Cezanne's lake flat view. Right? And you just add a little indigo to the pine. Make it more colorful. You could just sign without any title, I think. So let me see where to do that. We just find a spot. I think here we could the Emperor's seal. Especially when you have a slant like that, like the original, you have a seal there that will balance it, right? So I just put my name and maybe with a short year, the Genzi, we're still in the year of the rat. I just write very small, so it will not destroy the proportion. 根子小辉, meaning the year of rat. 小辉 is my first name. I got a small seal. You see the importance of seal on the original painting, because without that emperor's seal, collection seal, it would not so balanced. It's actually two of them at this place where I'm going to do. I don't have a rubber pad. I just use my rubber as a pad. Let's see. Just make it easy. Well, I can stamp right on top of this the color, I think. Because it's oil-based, it will not smear. That seals it. Let me show you the whole picture. Well, you can still work on it, even if it's already signed. I can still work on it. But basically, that's the process. And if I work on it, it will be just to make some darkest darks, maybe reinstate some. But never goes to the whole thing again. Just add some strokes that everything is a stroke based, calligraphy based. So if it's lack stroke, you need to add stroke. That's the thing. So let's say we just, because originally I divide this way, I can ignore that. I just reinstate, redefine it like the way any way you want. Because of the lightness of the beginning, you can always change things, and if you don't like it, you just blot it away. So it just go away. That's the advantage of this. This paper is called a sized paper. It's maybe not the most popular one used today. Maybe your concept of sumi painting is more on the absorbent paper before, but I want you to know that this ancient painting is more on the semi-sized, at least. Only contemporary artists like Qi Baishi start to use raw paper. By the way, Qi Baishi is very being influenced by the four ones, particularly Wang Yuanqi. And another artist before Qi Baishi got inspiration from is Shanghai schoolmaster Wu Changshuo. Maybe we'll talk about him. And Huang Binghong, an art historian, a theorist, also. He worked in Shanghai and Beijing, and he originated from Huangshan. He could be Huangshan schoolmaster also. So Wang Yuanqi has influenced many modern masters, including Wu Changshuo, Qi Baishi, Huang Binghong, and some contemporary artists, professors in the Central Academy. The academic school of the landscape painting greatly. But his name was associated with the old culture. So he was criticized in the Cultural Revolution or in the new cultural movement as early as the early 20s. So, but his value is more recognized after the 80s in China, and followed by many professional artists. And his style, like I mentioned earlier, is considered very close to the pre-modern master like Cezanne, So he is the beginning of the Chinese modernity, according to many art historians. Any comments?
Oh, it's beautiful, Henry. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let me see if I need to add anything. So there's some blue on the pine tree and the willow tree also. So you can use a little bit blue. So make it simple, just the blue and the amber, two colors. We call that 浅酱 in Chinese. 浅酱 means indigo and the amber. 酱 is amber. 浅 means I think the color it mixed like here between the it's the in the two, yeah. I mean the overlapping of the two is 酱. 酱 is this color. This is mix of blue and the I think. Yeah. So we can add a little. See the stroke goes beyond the ink. It could be, you know, so you can change the shape of the willow. It can go longer like that. So it's very free, very calligraphic. That's the lesson we try to learn, because everything is calligraphy in literary painting, right? Literary style. Yeah. He's a official in the government service, civil service. In the beginning, he passed the highest level of civil service examination in the age of at the age of 29, and worked in the county level, then the provincial, the capital level, and finally end up as the compiler, curator of Imperial Art Library, museum. Wonderful artist. His art is the highest level of Orthodox school in the Qing dynasty. Very authentic, following the ancient masters. Okay, I will let you. Do you have anything to show us? We can take a look in the gallery view, maybe. Are you working?
I can show you.
Okay. Who? Lisa. Who's showing me any? Let me take the spotlight.
Well, I didn't get very far, Henry, but here's.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can spotlight. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So you're using the sized paper. Yeah.
It's semi-size.
Semi-size. Okay. It's good to go light for light. I know you work pretty well with the process. Yeah. You know that. That's great. I like the Zhenjiang Hongren's painting, so you would do that. Let me see.
I can show you.
I can show you. Yeah.
But it's not finished.
Yeah, I can see the outlines very good. Yeah, very good outline. It could be more dry stroke. We call the dry stroke gradation in our watercolor brush lesson yesterday. I call it the rubbing technique, or tap. Yeah, that kind of dry and
more work here and everywhere.
Yeah, just go everywhere. That's a good idea. Just start, finish it from everywhere. So you can start at any point. Yeah.
Mine's too big.
Gallery view. Okay, let me just unspot Susan. So anybody talks will pop, I hope. Let me see. Okay, so you speak something, your picture, I mean your window should pop. Let me just pin you. Okay, this is let me see, spotlight for everyone. Okay, now I can see you. What's your name again?
Emily.
Emily is a new student.
Yeah.
Let me see your work. Okay. Yeah, I see you have experience before with this material, definitely. You already finished and signed. Great. Yeah. Yeah, I like the spontaneity of it. If you spend, just pen a little slower, you will be much better.
Okay.
In the wholeness of just get rid of this kind of grassy stroke. Try to control more.
Okay.
Your
grassy stroke?
I mean, there's a lot of points, like the one on top. I see the point of the tip of the brush just too sharp. Just too much attention. Yeah, you want to keep it dull. I think the best word, one of the best translation for Mao is not like a rough. Rough is one side of that, but it's dull. Yeah, it's a little bit blunt. Yeah.
Oh, blunt. Okay.
Blunt. Yeah. Okay. Look at his painting and try to get a sense, just like feel the texture of that. So okay. Yeah, just try to get that Mao to avoid the too wet kind of shining or smoothness. Try to get the Mao and the Mao is hairy.
Mao. Okay, Mao.
Okay, look at when I have little beard, that's Mao. It's
okay, understand.
Yeah. Okay. If I don't have beard, I'll just shave.
So in order not to do Mao, meaning too hairy? I don't know.
No. This part is actually Mao. It's kind of Mao. It's hairy. It's maybe too much. So you want?
Oh, because it's too wet, I think, right?
Okay, yeah, or too uncontrolled. You need to indicate if it's a branch or leaf.
I see. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, got it. I'll try to improve.
Okay, just follow the rules. That's kind of rule. You want to you have the rule of the natural principles, like a tree is a tree, a rock is a rock. You also have pictorial principles: dark, light, wet, dry.
Okay.
Any other students?
If you can see mine, might be too.
Let me.
Oh, it's too big. That's the bottom.
You together. Let me see.
It's too large.
Okay, I can see you. Yeah, this is very good. Are you Stephanie? I can hear you. Unmute yourself.
Oh, it's just a start. I'm slow.
What's your name? Stephanie, right?
Stephanie.
Oh yeah, Stephanie is in Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah, she has learned 30 years, right?
7 years.
7 years. I thought you have you told us you have experience. I forgot. But she's learning. Congratulations. I think you're doing very well. I saw yesterday your shitao is wonderful.
Thank you.
Today I can see the tree is very advanced. You have very, very well control of the shape of the tree, the form of the tree, and the leaf needles. Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm just slow.
Yeah, I know. And she's 80 years old. 80 is young. 80 is
83.
Young. 83 young. Oh,
yeah.
You're not too young. We have younger ones. I'm sorry. Just kidding.
No problem.
Okay, Henry, it's mine.
Ping. Oh, I like to introduce you, Ping, if you don't mind, and advise maybe for our next project a little bit. Ping is a second generation artist in her family. Her mother is the best student of Qi Bai Shi. Hold that picture again. Sorry. Yeah, you can see she has a very good calligraphy. I like the contour. It's very calligraphic of the trees and the leaves and the rock. Yeah, you just need to have a little bit more dry stroke on the rock and try to make the color more abstract or arbitrary. Not try to go back to the old harmonious. Try to create some chaos and then bring it into harmony, kind of balance it. That's the idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, next time, maybe next year, I would like to teach Qi Bai Shi, and Ping will be with us to share her collections of her mother's copies of Qi Bai Shi. Or that would be very interesting lesson to do. Okay. Any other painting we want to share? Okay. You can join my online class on ChineseBrushPainting.ning.com. The link I will send you in the handout already. It's another paid service, but it's worth for as low as $10 per month or $120 a year. You access to all the pre-recorded lessons plus the new coming up one. Even you stop paying for Zoom lessons, you can still access to the after class or before class handouts and discussions. So I strongly encourage you, if you want to keep learning during the holidays, I will still there online, even though we will have a 2-week break after the next one. Right? We'll still have one last one this year, then we'll continue next year. But if you subscribe to the online class, we can share the critique, because it's very important to get feedback. So the first step is to learn to practice the specific with a specific goal, and then you get feedback from either your friends, your classmates, and me on the internet, and then you fix it, you improve.
Henry, we can't see you.
Oh, you can see me. Let me see. Speaker view. Let me see gallery view, where I'm. Okay, I'm looking at some feedbacks on the
Don't be scared.
Chat.
Oh.
Well, thank Cindy Rodgers for your comments. I also learned from each lesson, to be frankly with you. If you compare my interpretation of the same concept today with 10 years ago, there might be some improvement on the demos. So I hope you keep learning. There's no limit to that where you can reach.
Henry, can I share something with you, Henry?
Sure. Where are you?
I got Henry.
Harry.
I was taking notes when you were talking. And I got Henry, and I was practicing the mountain strokes. So I got Henry in the mountains.
Really impressed me.
Very nice.
I'm pleased.
That's what I did a detail because I have a small piece of paper. So
Wow.
I'm like Emmeline. I need to slow down.
You did it today? It's a book, right? It's an album.
Yeah, it's a book, but it's Chinese paper.
Oh.
And
yeah,
so it's very absorbent. I got it.
The album is what did they use? You got a color tone, beautiful tone to the album.
Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I got you what you said about the arbitrary color tones.
Yeah. Okay. You understand that.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah, I like everything you did. It's very much like another school, we call it the Jingshi school, means the bronze and the stone school, or taste, very you're doing the stroke almost like cutting the rock, cutting the seal, you know. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I enjoyed it very much. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you for joining me. I'm honored to have you. I wish I will pay back by visiting your class and someday. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I will see you next week. And keep safe and well. Practice, practice, and practice.